Luckily for most Canadians, a Hollywood movie is the closest we will ever get to war. And as we move further and further away from large conflicts, Hollywood is often the new generation's connection to a world at war. Good movies can make the tragedies, the atrocities, and the horrors of war so much more real than history books ever could. So to encourage a chance for you to reflect, I've got some war movies that are worthy of your consideration. We'll start with the 1998 Steven Spielberg film, Saving Private Ryan. The story is a dramatic telling of a World War II captain whose mission is to save Private Ryan. Ryan is the sole survivor among 4 military sons. But it is this opening battle scene that made the biggest impression on audiences. Veterans praised it for its realistic depiction of the D-Day landing at Omaha Beach. Spielberg shot the iconic scene in ways that combat cameramen would have done back on June 6th of 1944. And for that reason, the film version is eerily similar to the actual footage from the attack. Even more importantly, was Spielberg's genius when it came to breaking through to audiences that had been desensitized to movie violence. Spielberg himself said that he wanted to affect people in a way that would maybe show them the nature of war for the first time. He did that for millions of people. He also ended the film with a message to live a life worthy of sacrifice. For a very different look at the same war, we turn to another iconic director, Clint Eastwood, and his 2006 film, Letters from Iwo Jima. The challenge in this film was to tell a World War II story from the Japanese point of view. This is a companion piece to an earlier film by Eastwood called Flags of Our Fathers, and was designed to be an honest portrayal of the same battle from both sides of the conflict. With plenty about emotion and intent, as well as action, the film was praised by audiences, critics, and veterans in both America and Japan. This film is a very rare achievement. It made audiences find honor and humanity in the enemy, and caused them, hopefully, to pause and think about life on the other side. Now, finding well-told Canadian stories can be a difficult search, but there is one that stands out. In 2008, Canadian actor Paul Gross wrote, directed, and starred in Passchendaele.
The job of breaking out falls to the only outfit in this entire circus that seems capable of getting anything done, and that's us.
The battle itself was one of the deadliest of World War I, with almost 500,000 casualties. Among those, over 15,000 Canadian soldiers were killed or wounded. Now, the plot is a love story that travels from Alberta to France, and while that story is fiction, the story of Passchendaele is important because it's our story. It is a tale of a newly born Canada, still fighting under a British flag, but quickly finding its role in this war and in future wars. The lesson of Passchendaele is about the futility and the senselessness of war. After so much blood and so much death, the land that was won was lost to the Germans again just a few months later. Next, we go back to Steven Spielberg for his magnum opus. In 1993, he released Schindler's List.
It's Hebrew from the Talmud. It says, whoever saves one life saves the world entire.
While Spielberg did take some liberties with the story, the message is intact. It's about the true darkness of the Holocaust and the depth of the horror of the atrocities and the triumph of the human spirit. Spielberg, in his brilliance, personalizes this tragedy and makes your heart break for one little girl who's dressed in red. This film is special, and a great example of its uniqueness is that whenever it is shown, it is never edited and almost always shown without interruption. Now, if I could make just one recommendation, it would be this next film, mostly because you may have missed it. It is a strange film about the Holocaust because it's a love story and a comedy. The original name was La Vita è Bella. Outside of Italy, it was known as Life is Beautiful.
Piegatura di gamba ariana con movimento circolare del piede italico. Caviglia etrusca su stinco romano. Guardate che resistenza! Ce la invidia tutto il mondo, bambini. E voi da grandi avrete una gamba così. Ma che dico una, due? Tutte e due le avrete. Se si rompe questa, ci abbiamo quell'altra. Si rompe questa, ci abbiamo quell'altra. Si rompono tutte e due, vabbè, quello è un caso di sfortuna che c'è.
The premise revolves around the outrageous concept of a Jewish father who convinces his son that the concentration camp where the family is imprisoned is really just a game. The son is shielded from the realities of war by his father's love, his beautiful sense of humor, and the unwavering belief that life is beautiful. There are, of course, many other films worthy of this list, from the World War I film All Quiet on the Western Front to the World War II epic A Bridge Too Far, and not to be forgotten, Charlie Chaplin's classic satire, The Great Dictator. Whatever you choose, however you choose to reflect on what today means, the movie world has an endless supply of great stories of war, stories that luckily we only know from the theater.